A very good morning, everyone. This side is Megha Narayan, your geography teacher. We will be continuing the study of continent Europe chapter, that is chapter number 7 for geography. In this video, we will learn regarding the agriculture that is under the heading of resources and their utilization for Europe continent. So here we go. In the case of agriculture, if we would be explaining regarding this Europe, the major thing we are supposed to understand is in the case of Europe, in agriculture, the things that are being practiced, the things that are practiced are actually crop cultivation, pastoral farming, fishing, etc. What are these activities? Crop cultivation, pastoral farming, fishing, etc. About one-third of the land in Europe is under cultivation itself. That means not so much of the land is available, but a moderate quantity is even though available. Okay, so about one-third of the land is available for cultivation. Now, highlands in the north, western, central, and southern Europe has poor soil. Thus, these places are basically used for cattle and sheep. I repeat, highlands in north, western, central, and southern side of the Europe are not having such a fertile soil. Thus, those places are basically used for animal rearing. Okay, that is for cattle and sheep. Now, one more thing is there, that is the most important point of this agriculture paragraph stated in fourth point of the slide. To reclaim the land covered by lakes and marshes or sea, Dutch people has built embankments or dikes along the coast. This is coast written, okay? Kindly please, there is a correction. Fourth point, the last word is coast. S is missing. That is a typing error. Anyways, regarding this fourth point, I should explain in the way as like what happened in case of Europe. Many places are actually covered by lakes, marshes, sea, etc. In order to make that particular area into use, bring that particular thing into use, Dutch people has built embankments. What they had built? Embankments. These embankments are also called as dikes. They are built along the coast. Where they are built? Along the coast. Along the coast of sea or onto the bank of rivers, lakes, marshes, etc. The explanation of this fourth point is like what happens in the case of Europe itself, there large amount of land is there which is actually covered up by lakes, marshes as well as sea. In order to make that particular land into use, okay, so that those lands can be further utilized, Dutch people has built certain embankments. In fact, there it is called as dikes. Now these lands once reclaimed, once are bought back, okay, once they are bought back so that it can be now further used, those lands are called as polders. Fifth point, polders, Polders. Polders, they are used for dairy purposes. What purposes? Dairy purposes. This is what's supposed to be kept in mind once we are talking about resources and utilization. The reclaimed land, which was initially brought into use by Dutch people by building embankments and dikes, those lands are actually called as polders and are used for dairy purposes. In the case of Western Europe, intensive type of agriculture is basically practiced. What is intensive type? Actually, in the case of intensive type, the maximum use of land is done with high yield of crop per unit area. What is done? Maximum use of the land is basically done. Maximum use of the land is basically done with high yield of crop per unit area. That means utilization of land is done at the maximum, okay, at the maximum rate possible. While at the same time, the yielding of the crop per unit area is also very high. This is intensive type of agriculture. Where is it practiced? In Western Europe. Where it is practiced? In Western Europe. Coming up to the seventh point, crop rotation and mixed farming are also done in this area. Crop rotation, that simply means once a particular type of crop is rotated, okay, suppose there is a piece of land onto the particular time period, that particular crop, suppose crop X, will be again grown on the same piece of land. Once X is grown, harvested, and all that thing is basically, I mean, the final crop is also removed, no? Basically, it has been harvested and moved from the field. Crop Y will be again grown. Once crop Y is harvested, in that case, later on crop X will be again grown. This is what rotation, one after the another. In that case, crop rotation is practiced in the case of Europe. Second thing is mixed farming. Mixed farming, in this case, it means growing of more than one crop or one plant in the same field at the same time. This is basically done so that along with those crops, no, animals can also be reared. Cattle can also be reared at the same time. Mixed farming involves growing of more than one crop or one type of the plant in the same field at the same time. Crop rotation and mixed farming are the practices basically done in this area as well. So in this slide, we had learned regarding the resources and the utilization available in Europe. Talking about the agriculture, crop cultivation, pastoral farming, fishing, etc. are practiced. About one-third of the land is under cultivation. Highlands in northwestern, central, and southern Europe has poor soil, thus those places are used for cattle. Certain places or lands are actually covered with lakes, marshes, sea, etc. In order to brought them into use, Dutch people has built embankments. Those embankments are called as dikes. The land which is then available is called as polders, which is then used for dairy purposes. In Western Europe, intensive type of agriculture is practiced. In this intensive type, that simply means maximum use of land is done with high yield of crop per unit area. Crop rotation and mixed farming are thus practiced as well in this at the same time. Moving towards the next one, here is the mixed farming and crop rotation discussed in detail. Cultivation is combined with animal rearing. This is mixed farming. As I had told you in that particular last slide, when cultivation is done, that means you are growing more than one crop or one type of the plant in the same field at a particular period of time. You want cultivation also to be done along with animal rearing, along with animal rearing. That type is actually called as mixed farming. Talking about the crop rotation, here you can read it out from the slide itself. Selected crops are grown on same piece of land one after the another, just like I had given you example for X and crop Y. This is done so that we can maintain the fertility of the soil. What can we maintain? Fertility of the soil. Okay. And use soil at its best. Moving towards the next one, we can now move towards the another type of the practices done in the case of this agriculture in Europe. Intensive we had learned. Now is the time to have a look on extensive. In this extensive, farms are large in size or area. Unlike the intensive, in intensive, size is not so large. Okay, farms are of small size. In extensive, farms are of quite larger in size. Next is the yield of the crop per unit area is less as compared to that of intensive. Now, the places where it had been practiced are Russia, Eastern European countries, etc. I repeat, extensive farms are quite large in size. The crop yield per unit area is less as compared to that of intensive. Area where it is basically practiced is like Russia, Eastern European countries, etc. Next are major type of food crops. Now let's have a look what are different type of food crops grown in this continent. They are as like wheat, barley, rye, oats, potato, etc. The major type of the crops are basically written in the slide. From wheat till potatoes, etc. They used to have them. Next is the cash crops. The crops which are grown for profit purpose so that it can be further sold and profit can be earned are actually cash crops. Example, flax, sugar beet, etc. These are the cash crops grown in this continent. Sugar beet is actually a type of a crop from which sugar is basically made. Just like sugarcane in our country, Europe has most of its sugar coming from sugar beet only. The Mediterranean countries are even there that produces olives, figs, grapes, etc. From these grapes, they even make raisins, wines also. Next term is about market gardening. When flowers, fruits, vegetables. When flowers, fruits, vegetables are grown together so that they can be sold in local market is called as market gardening. I repeat, when flowers, fruits, vegetables are grown together so that they can be sold in local market is called as market gardening. Talking about the occupation, rearing of the animals are done for major purposes such as like wool, dairy products, meat, etc. So rearing of animals is one of the occupation of the people living out here. Second occupation is fishing. So fishing is another occupation. As you can read in the bracket, Dogger Bank in North Sea and off the coast of Norway and Iceland are rich fishing grounds. So these are the places where basically fishings are basically done, or you can say fishing occupation is basically practiced. Now this slide I am repeating again. In the case of extensive, what is happening? The farms are quite large in size. In the case of extensive, the yield of crops per unit of area is less as compared to that of the intensive one. The places where it had been practiced are Russia, Eastern European countries, etc. Now the major type of the food crops are wheat, barley, rye, oats, potato, etc. Cash crops, again I am revising, sugar beet and flax. Mediterranean countries are producing at the same time olives, figs, grapes also. Talking about the market gardening, as we had discussed just a moment back, growing of flowers, fruits and vegetable at the same time so that it can be sold in local market is called as market gardening. Growing of flowers, fruits, vegetables so that it can be sold in local market for the profit purpose. This is called as market gardening. Occupation practiced here are major two. Okay, they are majorly two only. First of all is rearing of animals, done basically for wool, dairy products, meats, etc. Fishing is also one of the occupation. As in your books, it is mentioned, Dogger Bank in North Sea and off the coast of Norway and Iceland are rich fishing ground. In this video, we had learned about the resources and utilization, agriculture itself. Read these 2 pages. In next video, we will discuss the next topic. That's all. Thank you so much.